All right, now UFC 307 takes place in just a few short hours, where we have Alex Pereira taking on Khalil Rountree Jr. in the main event. Now, what I want to do in this video is go over some last-minute keys to victory that I have picked out for each fighter. I want to start with Khalil Rountree Jr. Now, full disclosure, I have picked Alex Pereira to win this fight by way of knockout. That does not mean that Khalil cannot win and basically shock everybody, okay? So let's get to his first key to victory that I've picked out, which is pressure. I think it would benefit Khalil Rountree Jr. to be the one who is pressuring, getting Alex Pereira on the back foot. When you go back and you watch Alex Pereira's fights with Artem Vakitov, this is something that he tried to do quite a bit, and when he did, he seemed to have success more often than not. Whenever they were at a neutral range or Alex Pereira was the one pressuring forward is when he really seemed to find himself in trouble. He was able to take away some of Alex Pereira's weapons as well as land the stuff that he wanted to land while not being overly concerned about what was coming back his way, compared to when Alex Pereira was moving forward. Right now, keep in mind, Artem Vakitov is a much more skilled kickboxer than Khalil Rountree Jr. But the reason I went and watched back these fights is because Artem Vakitov is about Khalil's size. He's 6'1", he's got a shorter reach, and the weapons that he's going to be using are going to be much more relevant to something that Khalil would be using, rather than going back and watching a fight with Israel Adesanya, who's very long, very different fight style compared to Khalil Rountree Jr. So I figured that this would be a better gauge than going and watching fights like that, right? So pressure, first key to victory. Okay, now moving on to the second key to victory is going to be no freebies. Now what I mean by this is not allowing Alex Pereira to just keep landing on you without firing anything back. We see this happen a lot with guys. It seems like Jamal Hill was trying to do this, although not all that successfully. But in the Artem Vakitov fight, yet again, this was something that he made a concerted effort to try and do, at least in the first fight, was every time Alex Pereira would land something, whether it be a leg kick or a jab to the body, right, which we see him use so often, he would throw something back. It was almost like he knew, I'm not going to be able to check his leg kick. So what I'm going to do is, as soon as it lands, I'm just going to throw, because while I'm going to be slightly out of position, so will he, because he will have just thrown a leg kick. And something that he did was throw a lot of either leg kicks or body kicks himself. Whenever we would see a body jab from Alex Pereira, we would see Artem Vakitov fire a kick. Whenever he would get leg kicked, he would fire a kick back. Now, he wasn't able to do it every single time, but you could definitely tell he was making a concerted effort to do this. And it just allows you to kind of even the playing field in terms of having to reset, because something that Alex Pereira is so good at doing when he's using that body jab, when he's tapping you with that lead leg kick or the rear leg kick, whatever it is, depending on your stance, is he forces you to reset and also kind of have to move back a little bit, which enables him to move forward and keep pressuring. It's also letting him, set stuff up in the future. So it's something that I thought, watching back those fights, was really intelligent on behalf of Artem Vakitov. Was just like, I'm not going to let him get away with much. He can hit me and it's going to hurt, but I'm going to make sure I hit him back, and then we're both going to have to take a second to reset. Do you know what I mean? Instead of just allowing him to continue working his game and getting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 up on you. So oftentimes we see he just starts to run away with shit, right? Like in the Yuri Prohaska fight, especially the second one, Alex Pereira just started that fight and just ran away with it. Yuri Prohaska could not keep up. Artem Vakitov was willing to exchange. Don't be afraid to throw back. Yes, he's dangerous, but and obviously there's certain things in a kickboxing match that are going to be different, right? Like Vakitov had a lot of success blocking the left hook because he's got much bigger gloves. But I thought that was interesting watching that back, that he just kept throwing whenever Alex Pereira would throw, even if it lands. Didn't really bother trying to check kicks, just would throw back. So that's something that I think that Khalil could use. Just don't let him freeze you. Do you know what I mean? Which is what we see so often. Now, the third key to victory that I picked out for Khalil Rountree Jr. is going to be body kicks. Okay, now I believe that body kicks will benefit Khalil. Okay, I don't think you're going to out leg kick Alex Pereira. I think he will check your kicks and he will hit you back with his own. It allows you to maintain somewhat of a safe distance, right? Like, meaning you're kind of out of range of the left hook, maybe. But it also allows you to keep Alex Pereira moving back. Like, this one kind of goes with the first two that I spoke about. If you're throwing kicks to the body, he's going to address them, right? We've seen this when he fought Israel Adesanya. We've seen this when he fought Artem Vakitov. He does address body kicks. He moves back a little bit. He double blocks both his arms, right? So this will allow you to kind of force him to reset rather than him doing that to you, and you can maintain your pressure that way. from a relatively safe distance. I would imagine in this fight, Khalil Rountree Jr. is either going to want to be all the way in or all the way out, and I would imagine he wishes he had a fucking teleportation device so he didn't have to close that distance, because that's where you'll probably find yourself in trouble. But, you know, also, you're in Southpaw, or Khalil Rountree's in Southpaw, right? So that open side is going to be, and not to mention, Alex Pineda's got, you know, the rear leg kick available to him as well, or rear body kick rather available to him as well. But you've got that liver side, so you never know, you could hit the button. Do you know what I mean? Alex is a very slender guy. He's very tall, so I think that he is open for body kicks, and we saw Israel Adesanya have a lot of success with body kicks from the southpaw position against him. So Vakitov did as well, but Vakitov's orthodox, so he was throwing a switch kick to the body more often than not, but his switch kick is very fast and also quite snappy, right? This guy's a very, very, very skilled kickboxer. But I think that these three things could help Khalil. I think that, and they go in kind of order, right? Like, I think that the no freebies and the body kicks are going to enable him to keep forward pressure that he wants to maintain. Because if you just let Alex walk in on you and pressure you, you're fucked. It's a matter of time. He's going to get you with something. All right, let us get to Alex Pineda's keys to victory. Now, these ones are going to be a lot more obvious because we know what he does well and we know how he wins fights. So the first one I have is the body jab, okay? We see this in all his fights, rather. Nothing changes here. It allows him to maintain the pressure and the range that he wants, forces Khalil to reset. You have the tricky thing about this body jab, which I love, by the way, we do not see a lot of guys implement the body jab like Alex Pereira does. I mean, nobody does it as effectively, but there's not a lot of guys that throw it as much as he does either. It is like a central part of his game. That and the leg kick are so important to his game. And it's like the shot is hard enough that you need to address it, but it's not so hard that it's going to be fight ending. Do you know what I mean? So you're left kind of making a lose-lose decision. Either you're going to address it, which oftentimes we see in the form of a parry, whether they're from southpaw or they're in orthodox. We often see a right hand parry to that body jab, which then opens up the left hook for Alex Pereira, like we have seen so many times. But if you just let him do that, I mean, you know, like he's gonna drain your gas tank. Do you know what I mean? It's just, like I said, it's hard enough that you have to address it, but it's not so hard that it will be fight ending with one shot. And then, you know, by the time it has started to affect you, though, it might be too late. So it's a very tricky thing, and I like seeing a guy utilize a weapon like that. It seems like he's kind of mastered that jab to the body. Although when we see him against a skilled kickboxer like Vakitov, we see him have somewhat of a counter for it, which was the switch kick to the body, which I very much enjoyed watching. But, yeah, so the reason why this is a key to victory is the same reason we see in every fight of his, right? It's going to either leave an opening for the left hook up top, or you're just going to assist Khalil Rountree Jr.'s very small gas tank and draining quicker than it already was gonna. Do you know what I mean? Now, moving on to key number 2, body kicks, okay? In the opening rounds, I don't know why I've got like this blue tint on my camera right now. The lights are not working, but either way, dude, either way. In the opening round specifically, I want to see body kicks from Alex, like within the first minute. Within the first 30 seconds, I want to see body kicks, okay? Khalil Rountree Jr., when he starts his fights, we talked about this in my breakdown of Khalil Rountree Jr.'s fights. He's got a very high guard, but not just his hands. He's got a very high elbow guard. He leaves a lot of open space here for body kicks. And as I've discovered watching back his fights, he's got somewhat of a gas tank issue, right? The hands usually have dropped by the end of the first round. So if you're blasting body kicks, you are assisting in that, and you're going to, you know, his gas is just going to go that much quicker, not to mention you're doing damage as well. We know Alex Pereira's body kicks are not just like a touch, right? They are loud, they are thudding or slapping, they are really nice kicks, right? Not to mention, Khalil addresses body kicks in a way that would allow Alex Pereira to set up a lot of different things, whether it be knees or kicks or whatever. Khalil, he'll take one. We saw this in the Jacoby fight and the Anthony Smith fight. He'll take one, but after that, he's not willing to take much more. So, and it's probably due, you know, at least in part to his gas tank. We see him crouch down a lot, and the lead hand comes all the way down, and oftentimes so does this one, because he really does not want to take more kicks to the body, even from a guy like Anthony Smith, who's just throwing in a teep. He was stabbing it in there, but I mean, imagine Alex Pereira can kick a lot harder than a guy like Anthony Smith, so you can't take many of those. So I think that a body kick is going to really benefit Alex Pereira in this fight, even more so than a leg kick maybe. I think that if he just blasts a couple, we will start to see big reactions out of Khalil, and I think Alex Pereira will follow it up with a knee or a head kick or something like that. Now, key number 3 is going to be Alex Pereira. He needs to be defensively responsible, okay? Khalil Rountree Jr. has wild, crazy offense that if you are being responsible, you should be able to get out of the way of the vast majority of his shots. We saw this in the Dustin Jacoby fight. He absolutely lost that fight. Okay, he just did. Dustin Jacoby had a ton of success against him in that fight, and it was because Khalil Rountree Jr. winds up so much for his shots and wings them like a straight, I don't even know what to call it, a baseball bat hook. It's not a hook. He puts it all the way back to his ass and swings it around like a baseball bat. Regardless, he needs to be defensively responsible. So something else that Khalil Rountree Jr. likes to do is he shells up a lot. Now, he doesn't really close his guard. He's trying to also block hooks, I guess. Now, Jacoby handled this very smart, in my opinion. He stayed at a longer range and just continued to split the guard with jabs or straight punches because Khalil's, while he's shelling up, he's not all the way closed. And then that allows Jacoby to stay safe rather than entering the pocket and risk getting countered. So he just stayed at a longer distance. Now, we've seen Alex Pereira get overzealous with guys that shell up like this. In the second Israel Adesanya fight, we saw Israel Adesanya up against the cage shelling up, and Alex Pereira really starts to tee off. He was digging to the body with hooks, throws the knee, all the rest of it, and we all know what happened. He got slept. Do you know what I mean? Because he left himself open for a counter, and that's something that I could see Khalil Rountree Jr. trying to bait out of him. So I would just say that Alex Pereira should, if he sees Khalil shelling up like that, you land a few shots, but don't stay in there too long. Remember the fact that he can counter or maintain a safe distance and just blast a body kick or something like that. Do you know what I mean? Another thing that Khalil Rountree Jr. likes to blitz with like a 2-3 punch combination. Alex Pereira sometimes makes me nervous in the way that he backs up, okay? He kind of just backs up straight with his head leaning back a little bit, and he kind of gets away with it because he's longer than a lot of these guys. But we've seen with like Yuri Prohaska, we've seen with Israel Adesanya, if they just extend their combination a little bit or even just extend the shoulder a little bit, like they can land on him. Now he is moving away, so he's rolling with the shot in a way. It's not going to be the most impactful. But Khalil Rountree, like I said, will throw combination to like 2 or 3 punches, especially when he blitzes, oftentimes ending it with a big, baseball bat hook off of his right hand. So if I was Alex, I would just try to watch for that and maybe angle off towards your right because, like I said, many times you see Khalil end a combination with a right hand. So if you angle off to your right, you might be going to his power side, but that's not usually how he likes to end the combination. And just keep in mind that he probably will try to blitz you at some point, and don't just get lazy, right? I think where I could see Khalil Rountree Jr. blitzing is sometimes in the opening minutes of the fight, Alex Pereira will throw like I don't know if lazy is the correct word for them, but very like lackadaisical, just lazy leg kicks, because he's just trying to gauge range, right? But we saw it against Jamal Hill. We saw it against probably Izzy and in other fights where he just kind of throws it out there, and if it misses, he kind of just takes a second to step back, probably because he's aware, like, this dude's not going to rush in on me, right? But I think Khalil would be the kind of guy that would, because he knows, dude, I need to get this guy the fuck out of there. I'm not going to go tit for tat with this dude. He will destroy me. So I'm going to have to try something else, and I feel like him blitzing forward could be something like that. So I would, chill out on the lazy leg kicks maybe, and don't allow for that second where Khalil could blitz and you are off balance. So anyways, dude, those are my 3 keys to victory. For each of these fighters, like I said, I have picked Alex Pereira to win by way of knockout. I think that Khalil is too sloppy. I think he winds up on his shots way too much, and he leaves so many openings for counters on the right side, on the left side, to the body, to the everywhere. So, like I said, while he can win this fight, it is a fight, obviously. I would be, at the very least, somewhat shocked, okay? But we will see tonight, so enjoy the rest of your Saturday and have fun at the fights. Watching the fights. I will be doing a live fight companion if you wanted to check that out. Either way, dude, like and subscribe. I would greatly appreciate it. I'll see you at the next video. Bye-bye.